Today, we're going to learn about opening position. Okay, so we're going to activate our pieces. We're going to see different situations where we need to open position and attack the king or activate our pieces. So most likely in all positions, we are going to see where the king is not castled and we try to attack. So when we see such a situation when our opponent king is in the middle of the board, not castled yet, the first thing that we'll look for is to try to attack while he didn't castle yet. So we try to open up the rooks, the file, the bishops, and attack. If the king is still behind of the pawn, the king is safe. In this position, it is white's turn. White is going to play his pawn d6. That will attack the knight and the pawn on c7. So after this, it's kind of like we're forcing black to take our pawn. Otherwise, if they don't take, and if they, let's say, play knight to g6, then we can attack on f7 by playing queen to d5. So that's very strong attack, strong move because we are threatening mate in one move. And if they play knight to h6, defend it, this is not going to help because bishop just will take on h6 and so threatening mate, and we won the knight. So it's really bad for black. And if the black takes the pawn, we should take this with pawn because we are trying to open up this e file. Now, let's say knight goes to g6. White will play rook to e1. So white is attacking this the king. He's including this move before he plays queen d5 because he wants to first of all ensure this king can't castle anymore because king has to move. Right now it's in the check. The blocking with knights are not safe. There's pawn, right? Pawn will just take it. So let's say the king goes to f8, and now we again have the same strong move with queen to d5. So when we double this two piece on the same diagonal, we like creating battery, attack on f7, want to take and checkmate. So there's two ways for black to defend. They can again try to knight h6, which is not good enough, which is bad move.
Yeah, because we just take.
We just remove this guard, remove this defender, and if they take, we checkmate on f7.
Or they can play not a really good move, queen to e8.
Yeah, this is also not a good move because rook will take. They can try to play.
And even if rook take, and then you take the pawn, it's gonna be hard to checkmate black, but it will be okay.
They can also play queen to f6.
Yeah, they can play queen to f6. Good. Carolina also wrote that move, queen to f6. Queen f6 looks good, protecting f7, but we can chase this queen away by playing our bishop to g5. We played bishop to g5, trying to take it. Now queen is in danger. If queen goes, let's say, save square and take this pawn, then this pawn on f7 is not protected. So we go into capture and checkmate. Otherwise, black is going to lose the queen. If they play queen to e6, there's rook. Rook just will take. So no matter what black will play here, he's going to lose his queen or it is checkmate.
Yeah. So it will be better for black to just lose the queen.
Yeah. Okay, now let's do some puzzles here. In this position, black to move. So we see black is kind of ahead in development. He castled. He has a good center with these two pawns. White king didn't castle yet. He didn't develop the bishop yet. But white is looking for to castle on the next move. So what should black play in order to open up the position? So let's see.
Can I please do it?
Yeah, go ahead, David.
Okay, so I think the first move will be e4.
Yep, that's correct. We play e4. So in order to open up the file or bishop or the diagonal, we usually exchange pawns. And attacking now the knight and his pawn. So white has two ways to play: to take or move that knight away. What if white will take?
Then we take the pawn.
Pawn, okay. Knight is in danger. What if knight moves to d2?
Then we take the pawn on f2.
Yeah, we capture the pawn on f2, and this is really bad, right? We don't need to go further because it's already obvious.
A loss for black.
Yes. White
because then, yeah. Still, if the knight was like, instead of the knight there was a pawn, then you could do
take a checkmate. Yeah. So, but this is already good enough winning position for black because of attack, because of the extra pawn. the piece is not developed right, so bishop can't.
Well, it's not going to be an extra pawn.
Isn't that extra pawn? It is extra pawn. And also, White has problems with developing his pieces. For example, bishop. No safe, no safe. There's bishop, there's queen. So if he can't develop the bishop, then you can't develop the rooks. So if the rooks are not, playing, this is bad. All right, let's go back and let's see what if they don't take and if they play knight to d2. David, you can continue.
Okay, if they play knight to
d2, he tries to keep this pawns in front of the king, not open position, right? He wants to do right opposite the thing that we want to do. We want to open, and our opponent wants to keep it closed. So what is the best move?
We can go to e3.
Okay, if you go e3, you will still keep this e file closed. You want to open this e file. You want to have this file so that your rook can go and attack the king. What should you do?
We can invade with our knight d4, but that's not going to do anything.
Yeah, we can include that move, but we have better move.
Wait, is it pawn takes d3?
Yeah, pawn takes d3.
I told that, but my connection was unstable.
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear that. Pawn takes on d3. Attack the queen, attacking this pawn. Now, if he takes was queen, he wants to keep the pawn on e2.
Okay, then we do rook to e7.
Nope, we have better move. We look for captures.
Oh.
Can I see it?
We go to queen takes b2.
Queen takes b2. Okay, great. With queen takes b2, we have at least, we're winning a pawn. And by the way,
rook has to move.
Yeah, you can't cast this way now. And
so then we take that other pawn.
Yeah, we take the other pawn, and that's bad. Let's see what if he takes was this pawn.
Then we do rook to e7.
Rook to e8, check.
Yeah, e8.
What if he goes, well, king d1, probably better move, but in that case, he can't castle, right? And we can say
so he can also block with the knight.
How about blocking with the bishop?
Blocking with the bishop?
Mm-hmm.
Well, then we do queen to e6.
Queen e6 looks good. You want to take the bishop, but he can't defend by moving that knight away. He will defend with queen.
Oh.
Playing bishop e2 is bad because then you can't move your bishop until you move your king.
Yeah. Well, he tried to block.
Oh, wait a minute.
How about knight d4?
It's
knight d4, yes. Knight d4, good job. So, all right, knight d4 attacks queen, attacks this, and this is completely winning, right? Or actually, we could just sacrifice first on e2, check. If they take, now we can do fork and win his queen. So, great job, David. All right, let's go to next puzzle, and now it'll be Daniel, your turn. It is White's turn. White to move. And White wants to open up the position because king's still not castled. We have prepared the rooks on D and E file. You guys can write in the chat if you have your opinion.
Pawn to e5.
Pawn to e5. Very good move. And plus, they can't take it. It's not safe them to take the pawn on e5. We are attacking the knight. We're attacking this pawn. So if they will take this pawn, White is bad move.
The pawn.
And queen to d8.
Yeah, queen d8. Wait your turn, guys. Okay, queen goes to d8. So yes, David. Right.
Wait, I forgot what I was going to say. Is this find like the best move for white or black?
E5 is the best move.
No, is it like that kind of like is it like just to find the best move? This whole
No,
thing?
we're learning today opening the file, opening the position.
Oh, okay.
So we're trying to attack the king, and this is the best move. There's no question about that. This is the best move, and we're trying to open up the position. We usually trade off the pieces, trade off the pawns, right? If we open up the position, we usually get more spaces for our pieces, especially for the rook, for the bishop, sometimes for the knight. So after this, look, he takes, this two pieces becomes very strong. That's why we open the position. Now, if he doesn't take, if he goes knight to g8, how should we continue?
We can
That,
just take the pawn on d6.
yes, pawn on d6. All right, then you answered, pawn takes on d6. So since this pawn on e7 is pinned, he can't take it. We know that pin pieces are not good defenders. What if they capture his rook? Daniel, continue. Any ideas? Make sure you unmute yourself, all right?
The queen takes it.
Yeah, queen just takes this rook. The pawn can't take, and if queen takes, we will just capture back with rook, and we have extra rook winning position. All right, great job. So let's see this one for Brian. White to move. In this position, white has, again, white is slightly better. I mean, I think it's more than slightly. If we find a very good move now. If we don't use this move, then probably black will equalize the position. So
okay. E6.
E6, good job. We could do castle. Doing castle right now, it's very tempting because we hide the king in a safe square and also we bring the rook to an open file. But playing E6 is better because first of all, we already attacking the king, okay? And we trying to stop their E6 move. If we do example castle or knight f3, they play E6 and they can bring up the bishop, they will castle and position will be equal. So we play E6, stopping their black's E6 move, also threatening capture on F7, which will do check and the king has to move, also stopping knight D7 move. So E6 is definitely the best move here. Now black can play F6 or black can just take on E6. Let's see what if they capture on E6. How should white proceed now, Brian?
We can just capture it.
We can just capture, looks good, but we have stronger than that move. Look for force moves, checks, captures, right? So capture is probably the second best option here. Let's try to find the best one.
Oh wait, we can castle, and then once he maybe does something, we can go.
No.
H5.
Castle also looks good. We already, a lot of weaknesses here, right? So we know if the pawn moves or takes or moves up, this diagonal usually becomes very weak, especially when the king is not castled yet. So let's try to use this weak diagonal, this vulnerability.
Queen H5.
Queen H5 check. Okay. Queen takes E6 is the second best move. Okay. So Queen H5 check. Now black doesn't want to move the king because if he moves the king, he can't castle. Now we don't even need to rush with attacking the king since we know the king can't castle. We can just simply develop our pieces or castle and check the king. So black will try to go G6. G6 will weaken this diagonal, and rook right now is in danger. But after G6, white queen also in danger. What should white play now? Let's try to attack this pawn on E6. And the bishop will take.
We can go E5.
Queen E5 also good, looks good. Probably leads to winning material because after we play Queen E5, attacking this rook, they have to move the rook. Okay, let's say here. And then?
Wait, should I do the next move?
Yeah, next move.
Okay.
We can win this rook. Let's attack the rook.
But I don't see any safe squares. There aren't any.
For a queen? How can we
Yes.
attack this rook? No idea?
Mm-mm.
Okay, Carolina? Do you see how can we attack this rook?
Maybe take the pawn on e6.
Yes, we just take the pawn on e6. Okay, we capture the pawn. We're regaining pawn. Also attacking the rook. Now rook is trapped. Doing this or this square is not safe because of bishop, and there's no way to defend the rook, right? So that's correct. Great job. And or I mean, here in this position, we could go queen to h3, which is also attacking here, hiding this pawn, and the rook is in danger. If they move here, we can just capture and win this rook, I think. So good. That's why black doesn't take and plays f6. So he wants to still keep this file open, I mean diagonal open and position safe. But then white will just play f5. First of all, we're defending pawn. Second, we threatening this check, which will, which will stop g6. G6 family is not safe because we just capture it. And also right now, look at this. Black has a problem with developing bishop, developing knight. So it is winning position. I mean, it's a very clear advantage for white. And maybe it's not completely winning yet, but it's a really bad position for black now. Okay, great job. Let's see, next one. All right, in this position, it is black's turn. So let's see who didn't answer. Dex.
What are we trying to do?
So we're trying to open up the position. Okay, we're trying to activate our rook. We have open D file right now. But if let's say we play rook to D8, they will play just rook to D1, and both rooks on this open file, and we have nothing serious, no serious advantage here. But we have very strong move. There is a vulnerability of this knight and bishop on this F file. The bishop is not protected. The knight is in danger and it's pinned because there's rook behind. This strong bishop is pinning it. How about we activate this rook?
Should we play f6?
Yes, pawn f6. We go to pawn f6, and it's hard to believe after this move, white's position is lost because he's going to lose material. We simply want to take this pawn and open up the rook and attack the bishop, attack the knight. It's going to be skewered. If they will capture,
we capture with the rook because that was our main
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah, also an advantage.
It's a turn. Go Dex.
We check with the rook. That's what I said.
Yeah, we capture with rook, attack the bishop, behind there's knight, so it's a skewer.
And if the bishop moves away, which would be bad move, then we take the knight with the bishop.
Yes, that will make another 4, right? We won the knight and 4.
And if we move the king, then we just take the knight.
We can just take the knight. There's a lot of ways for black to go. Let's say take the knight. What if king takes?
We go to pawn.
Wait, David. Wait to turn.
We go to bishop d6.
Okay, we can put more pressure by playing bishop to d6. Okay, let's say he plays knight to e2.
Then we go knight d5.
Okay, yeah, we attacking this now triple times, and white can defend third time, and white is going to lose this bishop because there's 1 knight, 2 bishop, rook is 3, and there's only 1, 2 defense. So that's definitely gonna work, but usually the fastest way is just attack with pawn. No matter this bishop is protected many times or they're going to protect it, still it's going to be in danger since we are attacking with our pawn. Okay, good. There's another way to play. David, do you want to say it?
Yes.
Okay, what else black can play here?
I think so.
Wait.
Black can play bishop to c5.
Bishop c5, great job. This is the best move, I think. And knight goes to d4. Brian also write this bishop c5 move.
So we take we take the knight.
Okay, king takes.
We take the bishop.
Good job. That's enough. We just won the material and we're attacking the big rook. So this is.
We're also the good thing is that the enemy king is in the middle, and that will be easier to checkmate him.
Yes.
And all the pieces are like aiming at the middle.
Yeah. So notice.
So it's gonna be easy to. Yeah.
Good job. Notice the king on e3 is overloaded in this position. It's protecting the knight and bishop. That's why white is just going to lose material, right? Or we can add a pressure first. Actually, no. Just taking it. By the way, we can just take the rook.
And it's also defending the pawn on f.
But
yeah, I think taking the rook is the best. It takes, and then we can just go for it. Sorry, here.
Yeah, but that rook is not doing anything, as you can see there.
Yeah, but
in the position, yeah.
Still taking the rook. Now we can just go for material.
But maybe we'll need that bishop later.
Yeah.
That rook has been sitting in that h1 place like forever.
All right, great. So let's see, Carolina. This would be your turn. In this position, black wants to activate his rook, h-rook, without moving it. There is an e file, but it takes it takes longer to get the rooks to the e file to double them and get something. Maybe we can't even get that anything. So let's try to activate this h file, h-rook.
We can move the pawn to h5.
Yes, pawn to h5. So we are attacking the pawn on g4. Since we see white has some, vulnerability, weak king, he moved the pawn on g4, which he's not supposed to do it, right? And now if the pawn moves up, he's probably going to keep this file closed, but then he will lose pawn on f5, which is going to capture it. So that's why maybe white will try to defend
But
it.
that's still, yes, but that still does not achieve a goal.
Okay, David, wait your turn. Thank you. So Carolina, h3.
We can take the pawn.
We take the pawn, he takes back. Looks like, pawn change, still safe. Now, since we have open file, all right, go ahead, Carolina.
We can move the bishop to h2 to do a check.
Well, bishop h2 check, it's tempting to do check, but not all checks are good, right? He just moves the king and, it's not that serious for white. Nothing dangerous for white. So he takes, let's instead get the rooks on the h file. If you have one of your rook in open file, you usually want to get the other rook also to open file. So we want to get the other rook, double the rooks on this h file. So where we go this rook?
We can move the rook to h3.
h3, yeah, good. That's also safe square. We can go to h3. But how about we move and attack pawn? Like we, try to double the rooks, and at the same time, it will attack the pawn.
Move to h4.
Yes, h4, right? This has two threats, two ideas. Attack the pawn and just double the rook. He plays f3, and then we bring this rook to h8, and look what we managed to get. We have very good attack against the king. We're going to bring the rook to h2, second rank. So just after h5, the position completely has changed, right? Okay, I think everyone answered. Dax did, Brian did, David did, Daniel did. Yeah. Now we are going to practice. We're going to do some puzzle streaks, okay? I'm going to stop sharing and